Have you ever wondered why some people seem to find peace and freedom as they grow older, while others feel stuck or burdened by their relationships? The reality is, growing older with a partner isn't always the blessing it's made out to be. For many, it can quietly become a source of stress, draining their energy, restricting their freedom, and adding pressure during what should be a more peaceful stage of life. If you've ever felt like maintaining a relationship in your later years takes more from you than it gives, you're definitely not alone. In this video, we're exploring 5 powerful reasons why having a partner in old age can sometimes make life more difficult instead of easier. But let's be clear, this isn't about rejecting companionship. It's about seeing things clearly, being honest about the challenges, and making choices that truly support your happiness and well-being. Stick around until the end, because what we're about to cover might shift the way you view relationships in your later years, for good. Reason number 1, the emotional weight of constant compromise. As you get older, your capacity for handling stress naturally decreases. Yet being in a relationship often demands ongoing compromise. When you're younger, it might feel easy, even expected, to adapt your habits, preferences, and even your dreams to keep things harmonious. But with age comes clarity. Not every sacrifice is worth the peace it costs you. Even simple daily decisions, what to eat, where to go, how to spend your time, can become tiring negotiations. Over time, this back and forth chips away at your emotional energy, leaving you drained. Take Robert, for example, a 74-year-old man who spent most of his life bending to meet his wife's needs. Now all he wants is a quiet morning with his coffee. But every day she insists on blasting the TV as soon as she wakes up. These small conflicts build up, and the once loving relationship becomes more about avoiding frustration than enjoying connection. At a certain stage in life, you shouldn't feel obligated to constantly adjust yourself just to keep someone else happy. Yet many people in long-term relationships fall into emotional patterns, reassuring, compromising, and accommodating, without realizing how heavy that emotional load becomes over time. If your relationship consistently drains your emotional well-being, it may no longer be serving you. Peace of mind should be a priority in your later years, but too many stay in relationships out of habit, not happiness. They don't realize how much freedom and relief they might feel by stepping back from the constant need to meet someone else halfway. Reason number 2, the loss of genuine independence. One of the biggest gifts of growing older is finally having the freedom to live life on your own terms. After years of raising kids, working hard, and supporting others, you've earned the right to focus on what makes you happy. But being in a relationship often means your choices are still influenced or limited by someone else's needs, routines, and expectations. You might believe you're enjoying your golden years together, but in reality, you could be giving up the kind of freedom that makes this stage of life truly fulfilling. Consider Frank, a 78-year-old who spent his life as a loving husband. After his wife passed, he realized that he had never really lived for himself. Every decision, from what he ate to where they lived, had been shared or compromised. Once he was on his own, he discovered something unexpected. He loved waking up with no obligations, no shared calendar, and no one questioning his choices. It was the kind of personal freedom he never knew he needed. Even in healthy relationships, you're constantly checking in, adjusting plans, and considering another person. It's not about resenting your partner. It's simply recognizing how much autonomy gets lost in the process of sharing a life. Want to take a last-minute trip? Start a new hobby? Change your routine? You might hesitate, not because you can't, but because you've been conditioned to compromise. And there's also mental independence, something people don't talk about enough. In long-term relationships, your opinions tend to merge. Over time, it can be hard to tell where your own preferences end and your partner's begin. You may not even realize how much your thoughts and decisions have been shaped by years of shared perspectives. But when you're truly on your own, you have the rare opportunity to reconnect with your raw, unfiltered self. You remember what you enjoy, what you believe, and what really brings you peace. Independence isn't just about living solo. It's about being free to live without second-guessing yourself or filtering your choices through someone else's lens. As you age, this kind of freedom becomes more valuable than ever. If you're still here and finding these insights helpful, drop a comment below and let us know what resonated with you the most so far. Drop a number 2 in the comments if you're still with me. It lets me know you're here and getting value from this. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time. Hit that bell so you never miss out. Your support helps us keep creating thoughtful content to inspire and inform. Now let's keep going. Reason number 3, the emotional fatigue of constant compromise. In the beginning, relationships feel like a source of comfort, joy, and companionship. But as the years pass, many come to realize that they also require something that becomes harder to give with age: constant compromise. It's not always dramatic or obvious. In fact, it's often a slow, quiet drain. You may not even notice how tired you are until you get a taste of something different. Peaceful solitude, where every choice is entirely your own. Take Robert, a 74-year-old who was married for decades. He genuinely loved his wife, but throughout their life together, he constantly made small adjustments, watching shows he didn't enjoy, eating at places that weren't his favorite, or rearranging his schedule to align with hers. None of it seemed like a big deal at the time, but it built up. When his wife passed, he expected grief and loneliness. Instead, what surprised him was the overwhelming relief. For the first time in years, he could structure his day exactly how he wanted, without needing to consider how every decision would affect someone else. It wasn't a lack of love. It was simply that he hadn't realized how much energy it took to always bend, adapt, and compromise. When you're young, compromise helps relationships grow. It builds patience, empathy, and partnership. But in later years, when your focus shifts to rest, reflection, and enjoying the fruits of your life, it can start to feel like a burden. You may not realize how much of yourself you've given up until you're no longer constantly negotiating your wants and needs. Even the most basic parts of life, how to decorate your home, what medical path to take, how to spend your free time, can turn into draining conversations. And over time, all that discussion, coordination, and occasional disagreement adds up. It wears people down more than they expect. The truth is, as you grow older, the peace that comes from making decisions without friction becomes one of life's greatest luxuries. You no longer have to justify why you want what you want. You don't have to filter your thoughts to avoid conflict or hold back tiny irritations for the sake of harmony. You can simply be fully, freely, and without apology. And that kind of mental clarity, the ability to live life without compromise, is deeply liberating. Drop a number 4 in the comments if you're still here. I'd love to know you're with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time. Hit the bell so you never miss a video. Your support helps us keep making meaningful content to inform and inspire. Let's keep going. Reason number 4, the hidden weight of caretaking. When people picture long-term relationships in their later years, the image is often heartwarming. Two people growing old together, offering love, support, and companionship in life's final chapter. But what often gets overlooked is the immense burden that can come with being a caregiver, especially when your partner's health begins to decline. And that decline can come quicker than expected. Take James, for example. At 77, he had shared over 50 years of marriage with his wife. When she fell ill, stepping into the caretaker role felt natural. At first, it was simple, helping with meals, reminding her to take medications, offering emotional comfort. But as time passed and her condition worsened, his responsibilities grew, and so did the toll on his own health. He stopped sleeping well, lost weight, his stress skyrocketed. His days revolved entirely around her needs, leaving almost no time to take care of himself. What began as love slowly turned into a full-time job, one that drained him physically, mentally, and emotionally. This isn't uncommon. Many elderly people find themselves in the exact same situation, caring for a sick partner around the clock. And while the intention is pure, the reality is that this kind of caretaking can break a person down. Research shows that older caregivers are at a higher risk of depression, anxiety, and even physical illnesses themselves. The constant demands of watching over someone else's health, on top of your own, can feel like carrying an invisible weight every single day. Even in relationships where both partners are still healthy, the emotional toll remains. There's the constant concern. Did they eat enough? Are they taking their medication? Should I schedule another checkup? It's a mental load that never really turns off, and over time, it wears people out. On the other hand, many seniors who live independently or remain single by choice avoid this burden entirely. Without the pressure of managing someone else's well-being, they're able to focus fully on their own health, their routines, and their happiness. They sleep better, move more, stress less, and most importantly, they maintain their independence without guilt or exhaustion. Loving someone deeply is a beautiful part of life, but the reality of caring for someone through serious illness, especially when you're not in perfect health yourself, can be one of the hardest challenges you'll face. As you age, there comes a time when choosing your own peace and well-being isn't selfish, it's wise. Reason number 5, the financial and emotional strain of relationships in later life. While many people think that having a partner in old age provides comfort and security, it often brings unexpected financial and emotional burdens. In your later years, you might expect peace and relaxation, but for some who remain in relationships, the reality is more stress, especially around shared expenses, medical bills, and sometimes disagreements about money. Take Robert, for example. At 80, he had been widowed for over 10 years. He lived comfortably on his savings and pension, enjoying his time as he wished. But when he entered a new relationship in his mid-70s, things changed. His new partner had her own financial struggles, and Robert suddenly found himself paying for more than he expected. From shared living expenses and medical costs to helping her adult children with their problems, what began as companionship soon became an unspoken financial obligation. Before he knew it, he was dipping into his savings just to maintain the relationship. This situation isn't unique. Many seniors who enter relationships later in life find their financial security entangled with another person's financial situation. While some couples can manage this well, others experience intense stress, especially when one partner depends on the other financially. It's not just about money. It touches on control, independence, and fairness. In addition to the financial strain, emotional costs come into play. Disagreements about spending habits, inheritances, or medical expenses can lead to resentment. Some seniors feel trapped in relationships because of financial dependency or the fear of being alone. As a result, they experience more stress, less happiness, and a sense of obligation that overshadows what should be a peaceful later chapter in life. On the flip side, those who choose to remain single often report feeling more in control of their financial futures. They can spend money on their own terms, save without guilt, and make decisions that are entirely in their best interest. The freedom of knowing every dollar spent or saved is their own choice is a powerful thing. Ultimately, relationships in old age aren't just about love. They carry financial responsibilities and emotional challenges that many overlook. If peace of mind and financial security matter to you, staying independent may be one of the best decisions you can make. As you age, the decisions you make become more significant. While many assume that having a partner is essential, the truth is that for some, it causes more stress than happiness. Aging should be about freedom, the freedom to make your own choices, live without unnecessary burdens, and prioritize your well-being. The idea that companionship is the key to happiness doesn't always hold true, especially when that companionship comes with obligations, conflicts, and limitations on your independence. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. Are you living in a way that truly supports your happiness? Are your relationships bringing you genuine joy, or are they based on habit, fear, or obligation? Every situation is unique, but one thing is certain: your later years should be filled with peace, not unnecessary hardship. Whether you choose to be with someone or remain independent, make sure your decision serves you and your happiness. Aging isn't about meeting society's expectations. It's about making the smartest choices for yourself. Sometimes the smartest choice is to walk away from what no longer serves you. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to apply it to your life. Your insights are important to us, and reading your comments motivates us to continue creating valuable content. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us keep delivering content that informs and inspires. Thanks for watching,